Hey homemakers, I want to talk to you about something that is really important, particularly for those of you that may be on SNAP benefits. And it is that there is a possibility that there may be a delay in funding SNAP benefits after November 1st. And this is related to federal funding delays because of the government shutdown. Now, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I am trying to get you to be proactive, to get you to think ahead, and to be prepared. Some states, like Missouri, have already posted public notices that SNAP benefits may be paused or delayed. Now, whereas nothing is certain, there's nothing wrong with trying to be prepared and planning ahead. If you have unused funds from October, check your EBT balance. It's best to go ahead and use those funds now so that you have food security on your shelf and able to put food on your table rather than end up with an empty card later. So what does this mean for you right now? Even if you're not on SNAP benefits, many families are feeling the pinch with reduced hours, layoffs, firing, and grocery prices continuing to rise. Paychecks are stretched thin. So this information will help you as well. Don't wait until you're in a tough spot. Reach out now. Find out what resources are available in your community, like your community harvest food bank. What days are they open? What ID do you need to bring with you to make your application? It's best to plan ahead, and if there's no delay or pause in your SNAP benefits, it's all good. You've at least planned ahead, and it's always great to have a backup plan. And you can still apply for SNAP benefits. If you've lost your job, your hours have been reduced, some circumstances have changed in your family, you can still go ahead and apply. States are accepting applications. So if you've lost work or they've cut back on your hours, now is a good time to apply. So as I said earlier, be sure to take advantage of all of the community resources that are available to you. Food banks, food pantries that you might find at the local churches. And a food bank tends to have refrigerated items as well as your non-perishable items. Many of your church pantries only have non-perishables, but you can also consider checking out the Salvation Army. Catholic Charities may also have resources available to you. And many schools have a school lunch program that might be available on the weekend, or there's a backpack program where the child can take home a backpack with food in it to tide them over until they come back to school on the following Monday. So look into those kinds of resources. Now, let's talk food. What are some of the things you need to buy before November 1st? And I'm going to start with those pantry basics that me and Miss Leona talk about all the time. First of all, you want to think about rice and beans. Rice and beans are a staple. And over here, I got a 20-pound bag of jasmine rice. We like jasmine rice here, and I just happened to see it on sale at Walmart. So I picked it up. I am going to break it up into much smaller bags, but when I saw it on sale, I went ahead and got that. So in addition to the rice, you want to make sure you have beans, and get the kind of beans that your family likes. So I've got a bag of lentils here. This bag of lentils, if I cook the whole bag, serves 13. And then you've got navy beans here and some Great Northern beans here. And typically a pot of beans can feed anywhere from 6 to 10 people, depending upon how much of it that you cook. But only buy these items if these are items your family will eat, because you only buy what you eat, and then you're going to eat what you buy. But as you do your grocery shopping this time, you want to think about, how can I stretch this meal? How can I make this dollar last or go as far as it can? And purchasing foods like rice and beans are one way to do that. You also want to think about pasta. This is a box of mac and cheese. You can probably get it for less than 50 cents. It's got the cheese sauce in it that you need to just add a little bit of milk with that, and you've got your mac and cheese there. So you can get something as simple as this, or you can buy your own cheese and just use up this particular box. Then there's also spaghetti, and spaghetti can go a long way. This particular box of spaghetti will serve 16. So this is a 16 servings box of spaghetti. It probably weighs about 2 pounds. So you can do a lot with that. And depending upon the size of your family will determine how much you need to cook. Now let's take a look at some of these canned goods that I've got down here. So one of the things that I encourage you to make sure you always pick up are cans of tomatoes, diced tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, tomato sauce, tomato paste. Also, you want to pick up some jars of pasta sauce because those are things that we call meal makers. You got a jar of pasta sauce? Let me grab a jar. I ran and grabbed this jar of pasta sauce because I wanted you to see it, because you got a jar of pasta sauce. Now the next thing you know, you can make spaghetti with this pasta sauce. You can make something with the mac and cheese with this pasta sauce. There's just so many different things that you can do with that. And in addition to the pasta sauce, that you can make meals with your spaghetti and other kinds of noodles, you want to pick up some canned goods. Now, some of the canned goods that I like to pick up for my family include these cans of Glory Greens. These are the seasoned collard greens. They have other kind. If your family doesn't like collard greens, don't buy collard greens. Get the kind that work for your family. But pick up some canned vegetables that you might want to get. Canned soups as well. But I've got here some canned fruits. Now, why canned fruits? Because typically they will be canned in some kind of syrup. Well, you can choose those that are canned in water or light syrup or heavy syrup, whichever works for you. But they're going to last you a bit longer than your fresh. So right now we're looking at what's going to give you the most longevity, and it's going to be your canned items. So pick up some canned soups. Or blah, blah, blah. Sorry about that. Pick up some canned vegetables. So pick up some canned fruits. Here I've got a can of fruit cocktail. And one of the things that my mom used to do with that when we were little, and I used to do it for my kids as well, was we would make Jell-O, and then you would put the fruit cocktail in the Jell-O. And it was a nice little treat to have. Also, I love mandarin oranges, so I like to buy these cans of mandarin oranges. But be sure to get some canned fruits, because you're going to need some of that. And then here's potato salad. Here's sweet peas. This is a can of creamed corn. This is cut green beans, chili beans, black beans, and great northern beans. And then, of course, this is a can of stewed tomatoes. So I'm going to put it over here with the tomato sauce. But just think about what are all the different tomato products that you can pick up in the can, and you can use those to make so many different dishes. So let me just set these canned goods out of the way. And I got my notes down here so I don't miss anything. So what else are you going to want to pick up? Well, you're going to want to pick up some flavor boosters. And those include things like your onion powder, your garlic powder, maybe adobo powder if you like this particular combination. But definitely you want to get some salt and pepper at the bare minimum. And then you can find small containers of spices like this at the Dollar Tree, also at Aldi for a little less than $2. So you want to make sure you've got some flavor boosters. These go a long way. And then you're going to need some things to cook with. So you want to make sure you're picking up some cooking oil. I like to buy olive oil and avocado oil, but that may not be in your budget. You might choose to get some canola oil or Wesson oil or different oils like that. Get the kind of oil that works for you and your family and whatever health issues that you choose to address in your family, but make sure you've got some cooking oil. And something else I encourage you to pick up, hot chocolate. You can either get it in a large carton like this. You can get it in smaller cartons where you get 10 packets in a box. Whatever works for you. But on these cool days, these chilly days, as fall and winter ease their way in, sometimes you're going to want something warm to drink. So hot chocolate will be good for that. In addition to, you want to pick up some coffee if that's something that's on your radar. Maybe some boxes of tea. And then of course a carton of cocoa. Now this cocoa you can use to make cocoa. So instead of buying this hot chocolate, you can like make your own with this. You have to use milk with it. However, with this one, all you have to add is water. So you have to decide what's going to work out best for your family. If someone's catching a cold or the flu and you just want something that's kind of cozy and comforting, tea works good for that. So you want to make sure you pick up whatever kind of tea that you like. You can use those benefits for some of these items. Now something else you want to make sure you pick up is shelf-stable milk. I happen to have almond milk right here, but you can get other kinds of milk. There's oat milk, there's soy milk, and then of course there's powdered or dry milk that you can also get that is shelf-stable. So be sure to have something like that. Now let's talk about protein. We did talk about the beans already, and beans are a form of protein. So you definitely want to make sure that you do pick up some beans to kind of help with your family's protein. But something else that's really simple and your family typically likes it is peanut butter. And you can make peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter cookies. You can make peanut butter pie. You can do all kinds of things with peanut butter. Some people like to eat peanut butter with a spoon. So be sure to pick up peanut butter for your family. This one happens to be creamy. They also have crunchy, and you can just do whatever you need to do with that peanut butter. Like I said, peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, and all kinds of treats like that. Other proteins that you can find in the can, you can get this canned beef. This is the Keystone canned beef, and I think you can get this at Walmart and at Aldi or maybe Dollar General. And then of course your canned tuna, and then your canned chicken. And you can buy canned chicken breast in cans that are about this size, or you can buy them in larger sizes such as this. And this particular brand, you can get not only canned chicken, you can get canned turkey, canned beef, canned pork. And then they've got some smaller cans like this size, I should say, of your cooked ground beef. So think about what canned meats can you pick up. There's Spam, which is making a big comeback today, so you can use something like that. There's other forms of similar Spam-like items such as your canned hams and things like that. So think about your canned proteins. Now let's talk about your baking needs. And one of the things you're going to want to be sure to pick up is sugar. And you can do so much with sugar. You can put it in your cereal, spoon it over your oatmeal, use it in your coffee. And of course, when you're baking, you're going to use sugar with that. I tend to keep my sugar in these half-gallon mason jars. I buy it in 5, 10, and 20-pound bags, and then I break it up and I put some in the jar. Then I also vacuum seal some like I'm going to do with this rice. So be sure to have some sugar. The other important item you want to have is going to be flour. This is your all-purpose flour, and I'm learning to bake bread, so I can make bread with that. But also you can make pancakes, you can make muffins, you can make biscuits, those quick breads that you can use to put something on the table, as well as dumplings for your chicken and dumplings. So you can make something with that. So be sure to pick up sugar and flour, and I already mentioned the salt, which you need when you're baking, But also, you're going to want to have some baking powder and baking soda. These items do something a little bit different when you're baking. So you can't say, well, if I don't have one, I can just use the other. Doesn't work that way. This is part of the science of the art and science of homemaking. And they do different things in baking in regard to helping your item to rise or serve as a leavening agent or something like that. So you're going to want to have baking soda, baking powder, as well as your salt, your flour, your shortening, which you can use to make pie crust. You can use it to, you can melt it down and use that as an oil to fry things in. And there's just so many things you can do with it. And then of course your cornmeal. I tend to buy yellow cornmeal. You might prefer white. But with your cornmeal, you can make corn muffins, corn bread, and so many other items. So you want to be sure to have these basic staples as part of your pantry staples. So be sure to do that. I almost forgot cereal. I've got oatmeal here, and this is your rolled oats. I also have some cream of wheat here because I tend to like hot cereals. So I make cream of wheat, particularly when the grandkids are here. They like for me to make porridge, and so I'll make cream of wheat when they're here. But also oatmeal. And with your oatmeal, you can do a lot with it. In addition to overnight oats or making hot oats first thing in the morning, you can also use it to make oatmeal cookies. You can make an oatmeal cake, oatmeal muffins, all different kinds of things with that. So these are items that you can use to really extend your pantry and then extend the things that you can cook. Now, let me get these things out of the way, and then when we come back, we'll talk about those refrigerated items, those perishables that are needed and necessary, but don't last quite as long. So give me a minute. So we looked at your pantry staples, those non-perishables that can stay on your pantry for quite a while. But now let's take a look at those freezer items. They are again so very important, and depending upon the size of freezer that you have will depend upon how much you can get. And we'll also look at those things that you want to keep in your fridge. So I'm going to start with my basic refrigerator items from my Four Corners pantry, which includes your refrigerator, your freezer, your working pantry where you keep most of your non-perishable items, and then your extended pantry or your prepper pantry where you keep other foods that you buy to build up. If you don't have that extended pantry, it's okay. Right now you're going to be building a bridge. You're going to be building that pantry as much as you can before November 1st, and then you'll do what you can afterwards. But some of the basic things you're going to need when we talk about those flavor builders include things like onions. You can put onions in potatoes, like fried onions and fried potatoes. But you're going to want to have some onions. You're going to want to have some celery, and you want to have some carrots. That's what I call my mirepoix. My little trilogy is going to be onions, celery, and carrots when I'm making almost anything. But in particularly soups and stews and casseroles and things like that. I put these three items in many of the things that I cook. So you want to pick up these items so that you've got some flavor boosters, and also it's a way to sneak in the vegetables that the kids don't really notice. Potatoes are something else you're going to want to pick up, and potatoes can last quite a while on your pantry shelf as well. But you do want to keep an eye on them, but they last for quite a while, and you can do a lot with potatoes, baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, hash brown potatoes, as well as cutting up your potatoes and cubing them and putting them into soups and stews and casseroles. And then I say mashed potatoes, which are absolutely amazing with gravy. So you want to make sure that you get some potatoes as well. And then, of course, apples. When it comes to fruit, apples have a long shelf life. So even though they are perishable, they will last on your shelf quite a bit. So these are some things you want to think about getting, because again, the shelf life is long, not indeterminate, but it's longer. So you might want to be sure to put you picking up these apples, carrots, celery, onions, and some potatoes. And then what other perishable items that you keep in your fridge? But just keep it in mind, these items are perishable, but they do have a long shelf life. In addition, frozen vegetables, and there's all different kinds of frozen vegetables. This is the mixed vegetables, which I like to use in soups and my shepherd's pie. And then, of course, you've got your frozen meats. Now, this is some frozen ground chuck, and this thing has been in the freezer for a minute, so it looks like I need to get it out and use it. I won't say it's got freezer burn, but I definitely need to get it out and do something with it, so it's something I'll be working with this week. But you can pick up in the manager special some items that are on sale, and this pack of ground beef, and this is the ground chuck, is regularly $80.39, and I got it in the manager special on sale for $5.45. So when you're looking for your fresh meats or your frozen meats, look at the sale items or the manager specials or wherever they put their marked down items, and so pick up some of those. So this is your, again, your frozen ground beef, and I can do a lot with that. I can make meatloaf, I can make spaghetti sauce or meat sauce, I can make tacos, and there's just so many things you can do with ground beef. So you want to be sure and getting some of that. This is a pack of chicken wings that I also picked up on the manager special. It was $5.51, and this pack was normally $8.48. And I don't normally buy chicken wings, but I thought this was a pretty good deal, so I went ahead and got that. Your best bang for your buck when you're buying chicken, it could be your chicken parts, such as your chicken thighs. Whole chickens are about $1.99 a pound or higher. They're almost as high as a turkey these days. They can be pretty pricey. However, they do stretch quite a bit. You can make quite a bit with a whole chicken. So consider a whole chicken if you can afford it. If not, then you can buy chicken thighs, which you can do quite a bit with that. Chicken breasts you can buy in family size packs, but they tend to be a little bit pricier than your chicken thighs. So, and then you can also get chicken drumsticks and bone-in chicken breasts, and then boneless, skinless chicken breasts. There's just so much you can do when it comes to buying your fresh meat, as well as chops and fresh ground turkey and all those kinds of things. But think about what works best for your budget. And then what do you have room for? If all you have is a refrigerator freezer combination in your kitchen or in your home, you may not have room for a lot of frozen items. So be careful about how much you get, because you can only buy as much as you have room for. So these are just some of the items that we might want to consider picking up for our refrigerators and for our freezers. Now let's talk about the upcoming holidays. The holidays are just around the corner. That includes Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate at this fall, winter season, they are just around the corner. And if your dollars are stretched thin, now is the time to pick some of these things up. And this probably is the lowest time all year you will find canned goods and turkeys and some other items. They go on sale at holiday time, such as cranberry sauce, which I love. And then after the holiday is over, it goes back up to like $2.29 or $2.50 a can. But at holiday time, you might be able to find it as low as $1.29 a can, depending upon where you shop and what time of year it is. And right now, Aldi's has a Thanksgiving special that you can pick up all the fixings that you need for your Thanksgiving holiday, including the turkey, for $40 or less. Now here's the thing. You don't have to buy everything on the list, so you don't have to spend $40. However, the things are marked down to as low as they can get them right now, so that your Thanksgiving fixings to serve a family of 10 will come in at $40 or less, depending upon what you get. Turkeys are at the lowest price I've seen them for a while. This is a whole turkey, and this 15-pound turkey is about $12 at Aldi's right now. After Thanksgiving, these turkeys may go on sale a little bit lower, and then after Christmas, they'll be even lower than that. However, right now, they're about $12 for a whole turkey. And the whole chicken is about $10 or $11 right now. So probably the turkey is going to be the best bang for your buck. And considering how low the prices are, you can pick up one now for Thanksgiving and then pick up one that later to use for Hanukkah or Christmas, that kind of thing. Or just to pick up an extra one just to have so that you can put it in your freezer. However, make sure you've got the freezer space before you pick up too many things that's going to go in your freezer. Now, as far as this $40 Thanksgiving bundle that you can get at Aldi's, if you are really strapped for cash, you could ask one of your family members, could they make that as a gift to you? They could gift you that Aldi bundle. And again, you can be selective as to what you get. They will have some different kinds of stuffing mixes that you can get. It is boxed, but you can get either cornbread stuffing, white bread stuffing. Won't be stovetop, but it'll be the Aldi's brand. But there'll be things that you can get. You'll be able to get dinner rolls. You'll be able to get green beans and then the French fried onions for your green bean casserole. You can get the cranberry sauce. You can get even desserts. So all the things you need for your Thanksgiving holiday or other holidays, let's say you want to buy ahead for Christmas, you can pick up with that Aldi special right now. So if you've got the extra cash, I would consider doing that. So again, you're building a bridge right now with your food reserves. You're going to pick up your Thanksgiving items as soon as you can, or I should say you're going to pick up your holiday items as soon as you can, because I realize everyone doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. But you want to get those items as soon as you can, or if you're not celebrating any holidays at all, this is a time that you can pick up things at a really reduced price and put them in your food pantry or your refrigerator or your freezer. Now this is where those cooking skills shine. For those of you that don't know, me and Miss Leona have been talking about ways to stretch your budget by cooking meals that use your pantry items or that can serve more than one purpose. And here's an example of what I've done. I made a baked spaghetti casserole yesterday, and we had spaghetti casserole yesterday for dinner. We had spaghetti casserole today for lunch, but I gave it a little bit of a different profile flavor by adding some tomatoes to that. But this particular casserole will serve anywhere from 6 to 8. So I'm going to put this part in the freezer, and there's a little bit more of it that's in the fridge that I had used up today. So I'll leave that out. But this is going to go in the freezer, and we can have that another day. So this is a way that I was able to cook once, but have several meals off of that. Here I've got some cabbage soup. I made a huge pot of cabbage soup the other day. We had cabbage soup for dinner that particular day, and then we had it for lunch a couple of days in a row after that. This much is left, and this is going to go into the freezer so that next week or a couple of weeks from now, when I'm in the mood for something hot and filling or some spicy cabbage soup, I'll have that in there. So what are some of those meals that you can stretch that last a long time? Your crock pot meals, your Instant Pot meals, your Dutch oven meals. Those meals tend to feed anywhere from 6 to 8, depending upon the number of people in your family. There could be enough to either have leftovers for the next day's lunch, or you could pop it in the freezer to have at another time. So think about that as ways to stretch your budget. I'll put some links in the description box below of the one pot meals, the desserts, and the soups and stews collaboration that me and Miss Leona did. I will put those links in the description box so that you can check those out. In each of those collaborations, there are 5 meals from me and then 5 items from Miss Leona, so that if it's the desserts, the one pot meals, or if it's the soups and stews, there'll be 10 total of foods in that particular category that you can consider trialing for your family. So be sure and check that out. And another thing that I want you to think about is when it comes to making those soups and stews and chilies and we'll say pancakes or biscuits, those kind of quick breads. If you're making your own cakes and pies for your family, These are ways to use your pantry items, your refrigerator items, the things that you already have to create a meal. So I encourage you to look at each of the categories that I've talked about and see what you can do within each of those categories. You want to be proactive and not reactive. So take action today. You want to check your EBT balance and see what's available. Use it up before November 1st and use it in regards to the various categories of things that we have talked about. You want to apply or reapply for SNAP benefits as you need to do. Visit a local food bank or call 211 to see what additional resources may be available in your community, and shop for your upcoming holidays as soon as you can. Be it Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, or Kwanzaa, you want to shop ahead as much as possible because prices are going to be probably the lowest all year around this particular holiday time. So homemakers, you've got this. Homemaking is about more than just cooking, cleaning, and doing laundry. It's about planning ahead. It's about preparing, and it's about protecting those that you love by being as prepared as possible. So let me know what your plan is. Are you going to cook early, put some things in the freezer, take advantage of some of the one-pot meal ideas that me and Miss Leona have shared with you? Or are you going to take advantage of the Aldi $40 meal deal? Or maybe you're thinking, you know what, I'm just going to get a couple of turkeys at those reduced prices and put them in the freezer so I've got some things for later. Let me know in the comment section below. So share this video with someone that you think could benefit from it, and I appreciate the shares. They really help me out so much. And for more homemaking and budget-friendly tips, check out this video next.